Just move these things aside. So good afternoon, everybody. It's lovely to be here with you. And it's nicely segued into sort of speaking about chaplaincy and the relationship with the Scottish Prison Service, with what Angus said and John. I'm the Scottish Prison Service chaplaincy advisor, reformed advisor. There's three of us. I've got a Roman Catholic colleague and a Muslim colleague. And I provide advice and guidance and support to the chaplains throughout the 15 prisons in Scotland. And it's obvious, without prison fellowship, we would not be able to do so many things that that go on in the name of chaplaincy and with the prison fellowship volunteers. Prison fellowship volunteers make up over 90% of the volunteers that we have coming in through chaplaincy. So it really is, without Prison Fellowship Scotland, there wouldn't be the Sycamore Tree course, which is of course what you bring in, and very much so, and something that the prison service is wanting to expand, recognizing the value that restorative justice approach has. And I'll say a little bit, want to say a little bit more about that in a minute or two. There's a letter writing. So John and I, when John came into his post, we worked very closely on getting together a letter writing program that would be acceptable to the prison service, but also would link in with the volunteers, and most important of all, would meet the needs of the people that are in prison, and particularly those who have nobody to write to, who don't have any visits. So really important. And all of that, of course, underpinned by prayer, as are the weekly fellowship meetings that you have. I think Angus was really good as well in putting that, you know, the vision of the prison service has got this thing about transforming lives. And as we've heard, the position of chaplaincy, and therefore the position of volunteers and of how religion and how chaplaincy is seen, has changed very much over the years. And one of the things that I think we're having to do is look at how we actually interpret what chaplaincy does and what the volunteers do to the prison service. It's not accepted any longer that and hasn't been for a long while, that the chaplain is up there with the number 2 key. In fact, we now no longer have keys as chaplains, and our role in one sense has been sort of limited, although it's, oh, sorry, we do have keys, but we can't escort prison. My colleagues are looking, whoa. We do have keys, but we can't escort chaplains and escort prisoners and bring them to the chapel as we could. So what we can do has been limited, and an important part of that is building up trust. Not just obviously we have to do that with the prisoners, but I just want to think just for a moment or two about the importance of building up trust as chaplains with the prison staff, and therefore as chaplains, as gatekeepers for volunteers coming into the prison, and of what we all do, therefore allowing us to work. And I'm not terribly good with words, so I'm going to show you something about trust, if you like. And I'm assured that my friends will and the prison service will help me out with this. So when I was a student, I used to come home from university, and I got involved with Campaign Coffee. Do any of you remember Campaign Coffee? It was this dreadful coffee that because was it Oxfam? I think not Oxfam. It was Nescafe had given these coffee roasters to Oxfam so as a way of helping people to people who were growing the coffee to get more money out of it. And so there was this whole campaign, and we drank this dreadful coffee. But to try, it was a social justice thing, economic justice, so that people in poorer countries who grew the coffee could get the money directly. And I used to go home and tell my mum about this, and she would just say, well, that's all very well, but I think she thought it was all very left-wing and very suspicious, and wouldn't have anything to do with it. One day I went home, Sheena, they have got this wonderful coffee at church. It's with fair trade. And do you know what they do? They go to the farmers and she was telling, and this, I'm saying, yes, Mum, that's what I've been going on about. But I had obviously not put it into the language, and she hadn't trusted because I was coming at it from a different angle. She hadn't trusted that this was what it was. But when it was put in her church language, if you like, and fair trade, and it was all packaged, she trusted that. So I'm wondering if somebody is going to trust me. And if we, right, got a nice guillotine here. And then I want somebody to show their trust in me by coming out and putting their, will somebody come out and put their hand? Oh, James, no, my fellow chaplains said, no way would we trust you. Okay, yes, come out, James. Yes, do. Now you see, this is, if you can, yeah, well, yeah, probably that's fine. Yeah, do you like it? Yes, yeah. So you see, not many of you volunteered, because not many of you know me, and not many of you, therefore have reason to trust me. But I'm a bit surprised that my two colleagues, that they didn't trust me. But the point is, that's how a lot of the prison staff feel. They're looking at us and they're going, oh, I don't trust, I'm not quite sure what you're doing. I'm not quite sure what they're doing. And I know they say, and they can, they have these meetings and they can see, there are people like David and other people who go through, they can see transformed lives, but they're still not quite sure about it. So I'll put this in case there's some blood. Okay, just in case there's some blood, I'll just put that in so we can just see that there's it. Right, okay, are you ready? Yes. Right, so if you just want to put your, put the full hand through. Of those handcuffs that escaped from. Right, okay, so you all trust me? Yeah. One, sorry? No. Trust. 3, 2, 1. Ah!
That's all right. Well done.
Right. Thank you. But that apprehension that you felt, and that reason for not putting your hand in there, is what a lot of staff feel, and that's what we've got to get through as chaplains and as volunteers. And so there's something we've, I think Louise talked about, the people that open the doors. We've heard from Angus about those other people that have opened the doors. And there has to be something that we can take the value, because the values that the prison service are putting forward about transforming lives, they're now in their, they're talking about being more trauma informed. They're talking about safety, and we talk in our services about trusting God, about having that refuge in God. We talk about in a lot of our fellowship groups where we're talking about empowerment, where we're empowering people to encouraging and supporting them to take a different direction in their lives. We're talking about freedom when we're in the groups, and as chaplains, wanting people to be free from the way that people have lived in the past. So all these values, they're talking about trustworthiness, about building up trust with the prisoners as well. And we have to be able to take all these values that we have always had, and have always been part of Prison Fellowship Scotland and of chaplaincy, and translate them, if you like, into the language of the prison service so that they understand and they trust us, because they're asking for more and more evidence of what we do. And we need to, they have got trust in us. We need to keep that trust and to build it as we go ahead. And one of the things they're wanting to do is to work more to expand the sycamore tree course, which is wonderful. And the Scottish government has committed to having restorative justice available to everybody that wants it by 2023. And one of the big blockages is who are going to be those people that have those restorative that can facilitate those restorative conversations. So there's a real challenge for Prison Fellowship Scotland there about getting those that cadre, if you like, of volunteers. How do you do that so that we can have those restorative conversations in reality, not just talk about them in the sycamore tree course. So chaplaincy, we've got to be those trusted interpreters, interpreting those values in a way that the SPS, we've got to be trusted co-workers. We've already heard that as we work with the prison staff, so that they trust us to and when we go into the prisons, and trusted servants as volunteers and as chaplains, bringing in the kingdom of God. I just, we were going to have a breakout room, and John just asked me to say something about the women's new facility. So I've just got one or two pictures. Again, picture paints 1,000 words. So this picture that you can see is the new women's national facility. So they're going to knock down, for those of you who know Cornton Vale, half of that is already knocked down, and on that site they're building this, which is basically looks a bit squashed, but what it is, it's completely based on a different way. It looks like, in fact, if you go to number 8, so number 8 shows this sort of archway of rooms starting from one side, go around to the other. People will be assessed, and then going round to long-term people. But the rooms, if you go to, is it 10? The rooms will look very like, almost like hotel rooms. It'll have a very campus type feel to it. They'll be able to get in contact with their families within the rooms. They'll be able to have, the women will be able to make up their own, or with their personal officer, they'll make up their own agenda for the time that they're in prison, what they need to work on. And there's lots of opportunity. I'm working on something at the moment that is the way that the chaplains and outside agencies will be able to come in, and what they will be able to contribute to that. And then if you can go to the, yes, this one. So then there's going to be 2 community custody units. So they're trying to reduce the number of women in prison. I think both Andrew McClellan and I would agree that shouldn't be locking up women at all, but getting better prisons is the first step to that. And so in the community custody units, those that are assessed as safe enough to be in units, there's one in Glasgow, one in Dundee. They're going to be opened at a similar time as the national facility in the middle of next year. And in Glasgow, there'll be about 24 women, in Dundee, about 16. And they will connect into the local community. We're already working with local churches that will, again, provide pastoral support. So great opportunities, really exciting things happening. I can let you have this presentation so you can sort of say more about it. So yeah, congratulations on 40 years. I hope there's 40 years more. I think some of you might see you in 40 years. I probably won't be here then, but uh, congratulations. Thank you.